A lot of talk about consciousness nowadays. What is it? It's the capacity to let our body be filled with light. We are light beings, and through bioenergetic medicine, we know that the health of a cell is directly linked to its capacity to hold light. So what would prevent the cell from holding light, and where does light come from? Well, we convert foods to light, don't we? ATP. We convert oxygen to light. And all that's done in the lower parts of our body, in our digestive system, our liver, our pancreas. And we include the kidneys as well, right? And so whatever we're ingesting is going to be converted to light. But ultimately, we can do it with our breath. Because our lungs, we have two lungs that work with our heart, and as we breathe in and out, it actually activates the two hemispheres of our brain. And it syncs them. And if we walk, that helps too. And so now there's this pumping action, and the breath begins to normalize. And when that happens, we're both relaxed and alert at the same time. Our mind isn't busy compartmentalizing things. So let's talk about that. Light flows, and there's this one pulsation that's constantly moving through us. So what prevents us from being able to feel that fully and to receive it fully? It's about alignment. We're either aligned with it or we're not. And what causes us to go out of alignment, it is our belief. All right, so consciousness must shine through the belief system. And so how do beliefs block cells? Well, if we are not aligned with the circadian rhythm in our body, meaning letting the autonomic nervous system run the show, what stops that? Gripping, defense, reaction. And what causes reaction? It's fight or flight. It's a need to protect ourselves. So our belief system throws off the circadian rhythm, and suddenly all of the resources that are supposed to be pumping through our organs and systems start to create a logjam. And the water in the space between our cells begins to get ooky, sludgy. All right? But we need, in order for light to hit the cells, they have to travel through the water and the minerals. And the fat wall here, the cell membrane, the place where everything is absorbed, tends to attract heavy metals. And so if the body's on a wobble because the belief system and the person's clenching, we're going to have a tendency to attract toxins that block light. Is it the chicken or the egg? It really has to do with the belief system. In all the years that we've worked with customized detoxification programs and nutritional programs and lifestyle programs, that's all outside in. Ultimately, the individual's ability to live life in an integrated way, live a life flow, has to do with their willingness to look at this layer, to take ownership for what is coming back in their relationships. All right, so that goes into relationships. The next level, if we look at how we are conscious creators, there's this one pulsation of light that's flowing through a body that's either aligned with love and life, or it's blocked and gripping. And if that happens, everyone's the enemy, even ourselves. We can't see. So we can be unconscious creators, or we can be conscious creators. And consciously creating means understanding how we create. Consciousness flows through belief, and then intention. Attention and intention. So let's do this. Intention. So now we have intention, okay? What is your intention? What is your intention? When you wake up in the morning, the first thought that you have sets the momentum and the tone for the day. You know this is true. We talk about waking up on the wrong side of the bed. I don't know what that means. If you begin to wake up every morning and decide what you want and set an intention from there, it means that we begin to understand that we can focus on lack and scarcity and the need to defend ourselves. But we'll find that we'll constantly be in symptom, either in emotional pain, mental pain, physical pain. And we feel like we're alone and that no one can hear us. Shifting your intention means that you begin to know who you are. You begin to understand energy and how it feels, and you begin to take responsibility for that. You're not waiting for someone else to change so that you feel comfortable. When we set an intention, our intention can be heard, felt, seen through the words that we speak or the words that we don't speak. The mind train running through the mind. So we use our intention and we form agreements. We can't see that one. I'm going to have to go to a different color. Agreements. So, what is an agreement? An agreement is anything that has your attention. Anything that is juicing you up, that you're invested in. So look at how you are using your light. Are you in awareness that there are certain belief systems that are going to cause you to clench and hemorrhage light? That's the first thing to look at, so just start to pay attention to that. Look at how you clamp, and look at when you clamp. And there isn't a person on the planet living in a body that doesn't go through this process. If they tell you that they are an awakened master here, incarnate, they're part of the collective mind. And so they're in awareness and they're working with this 24/7. Mastery is knowing who you are and knowing that you're going to feel all of it. That means that you feel victimhood. You feel the violator. You feel the need to rescue. And you know that those stances, those focus of attention has to do with brokenness. It has to do with a belief in brokenness, a belief in death and dying, a belief in not being enough. Shame and guilt, those all perpetuate what we create. So when we look at that, intention, what is your intention? Guess what mine is? Mine is love. I surrender my life to love every morning. And in doing that, it means that anything that is not love is brought to my attention. Whether I've created it or whether it's coming from someone else, I created it. I'm holding the intention to receive it, to react to it, to analyze it, to compartmentalize it. In other words, I'm investing my light in it. And there's a lot of misperception right now about power of positivity. And the focus is, I can choose what I want to believe or not. I can choose where I focus myself. Yeah, you can do that. But as soon as you get tired or dehydrated, your automatic pilot is going to be to return to this. This is what we call blind spots. And we all have them. It's where you go unconscious. It's where you're in reaction. It's where you think you leave relationships. You know what I mean? So what can we do about the belief in the battlefield. We can start having our own experience of conscious awakening. Stop following gurus. There's a guru in you. And how do you tap it? Where do you feel it? And you start catching yourself. All I have to do, if I'm in a mind train, and that means that, maybe I've gone numb on social media. When I wake up in the numbness or in the sleeping state, I just pulse in and I calibrate where I am. And I look at what's the intention for the words that are running through my mind? What am I perpetuating? And then I stand up and I move and I nurture my body, because we're either consciously creating by setting an intention in lack and scarcity. Do you get on social media and voice your opinion all over the place, hoping that someone will hear you? That's a battlefield, completely. If instead you're putting your focus here, and you really understand who you are, that where you spend your time, where you invest your time, matters. And that when we make an agreement looks like a triangle. There's you using your mind's eye, and you're focusing in gravity, right? So your focus and your attention creates reality. And so this is the world. This is the physical form down here. So do you have a family that constantly attracts chaos, tragedy? What's the belief? Believe me that there are many families that attract tragedy, and it's because as they go through the grieving process, really understanding that loss and what it is, and being able to feel the shock and then the absence and the need to have things be constant or it's scary. That's what we were taught. Fight or flight. Let's create a world where love lives. Conscious, aware, so we're aware of the veil. This is the veil of separation that keeps me pointing at you and saying, why'd you get defensive? Right? Why'd you get defensive? Well, we are a magnet, an electromagnetic. Figure 8 moves between us. And there is an intention between the two of us. That means anytime two people are having a conversation, whether spoken or unspoken, there's a shared intention. Do you know what that is? Can you put words to it? Because if you can, it allows us to begin to have a conscious relationship. If you find yourself separating, stuff is good and bad, right and wrong, good people versus bad people, that person feels good, this one doesn't, I'm going to, no. Get comfortable in the uncomfortable. That means begin to ride the rhythms and cycles. We're at a whole new level of shock. And every time we go through a shocking event together, our brain locks up even more. And so there's a bigger split that's happening where conscious people are now using their conscious awareness to violate other people, thinking that there's only one way. The path is inner. The path to consciousness, to the Christed consciousness. That means letting your own body be filled with light is no one's responsibility but yours. You had one job when you incarnated, and that was to awaken and to remember how to fire up this body so that you could receive the truth through it. And what is the truth? The truth is felt through the triangular adrenal glands, through the spherical gonads, through the pancreas that is shaped like a penis. And that is what runs all the light processes in the body. It's enzymes. Through the thymus gland. The thymus gland shrivels and dies in childhood. Why? Because we disempower children. We teach them how to live in disintegrity. It's disempowerment. It's conditional love. You know that. What is the bully? What is the bully? It's someone that doesn't understand inner control. And so they disempower other people to feel powerful. I tend to pull in a lot of bullies who are having realizations now about what that really means. So a bully lives within each one of us. Some of us are bullies by withholding our love. And did you know that that's the only sin, is to block consciousness and to do it in awareness that you're doing it? When you label and judge, that's the only sin. You're taking the light that flows through your body and you're investing it in building walls. We're all responsible. We're responsible for the love, the death, the murder, and that's why it hurts so bad, because some part of you knows that. What I'm here to tell you today is that you can consciously take part in the restoration of love on this planet. Let's clean and clear the space between us through awareness that we are responsible for how we invest our light, how we cast it, what we're creating. Did you know that when you worry for a loved one, when you worry, you're actually investing your light in a vision of fear, and it blocks them. Mental illness has a lot to do with family patterns. We think that we're good, loving people if we're worried about our loved ones. See the light in their eyes. See their power. The person with the problem has a solution. And we as parents can trust our kids as long as we know how to calibrate where we're coming from. Are we coming from fear? Or are we coming from love? Love and truth are one. And they're felt through truth bumps. You know when you have those moments with your children, with your lover, with your dog, where there's this shared experience and every part of you stands at attention through truth bumps. That's your nervous system. Every single pore in our body is designed to receive and radiate light. We are so privileged to be here, living and breathing in these suits of skin that are really crystalline structures of light. More to come. Much love. Bye for now.